Hey, good evening. Hey, good evening. Good evening. I hope my voice is audible. Can anyone confirm if my voice is audible in the chat box? Can anyone confirm if my voice is audible in chat box? Okay, so yes. So I'll give one more minute of time so that others also can join. Quickly, we'll give one more minute of time. Today's topic is on the causality assessment. So I'll give one more minute of time so that we can start the session quickly. Okay, I think people are joining now. So today I'm going to take a topic which is on causality assessment. So what is causality assessment and what are the different factors associated with causality assessment and how the causality assessment is being in terms of D challenges and re-challenges. I'll be speaking about that topic. And I'll also speaking about the Naranjo scale and WHO scale. I'll be speaking about a couple of questions which are being used in live interview based question and answers in YouTube. So I'll be speaking about that also now in some time. Okay. So without any delay, let's jump into the topic. So today's topic is on what is causality assessment. So the first one is what is causality assessment. So now what exactly is causality assessments? So this is the factors or likelihood of a particular treatment which has caused an observed adverse event or not. So a relationship between drug and adverse event is called as a causality assessment. So this comes into part in pharmacovigilance when because we have taken so many drugs and so many adverse events patient is getting, so we really don't know which drug, which suspect drug has caused which adverse event. So it's very challenging part in pharmacovigilance, in particularly post marketing when the multiple drugs are being used by multiple adverse events. So it's very difficult to understand the exact drug which is responsible for causing the adverse event or the drug reactions, because the more drugs are being used flooded into market and more suspect and co-suspect drugs or treatment drug or concomitant medications are being taken, multiple drugs are being used, and there are multiple criterias. So there are multiple criterias which are being used for establishing the causal relationship in case of adverse drug reaction. So generally individual case safety reports, they are trying to assess the medical review whether the case has been caused by a particular drug or not. So why do we require causality assessment? So we have understood that what is causality assessment. It's a relationship between the likelihood of the adverse event and the drug. And it is very challenging because it has a lot of drugs associated to it, a lot of adverse events associated to it. And why causality assessment is so important? So because to prevent the future occurrence, to make sure that to prevent the future occurrence of risk mitigation plans, or to modify or rectify the adverse events or associated drug reactions or dosage forms or the route of administration or frequency, everything can be changed based on the causality assessment or causality assessment which has been coming from your drug and adverse event. So now why is this causality assessment is very important is to prevent the further occurrence or risk mitigations or change of a dose or modifying a dose or dosage form or ingredients or any modifications in particular aspect. Then the causality assessment is needed. Now what are the different factors associated with the causalities? So now there are different factors which are associated with causality assessment. One of the factor is what is the past history of the patient, and what is a past expectation, or what is a past allergic reaction of the patient. So maybe patient might have taken a drug which might have caused a particular adverse reaction. So this might have been done in a particular adverse reactions. Patient might have got a particular reaction. So, and we need to know that what drug he has taken, because he is getting an adverse event. So that's one criteria. The other criteria is the duration. The duration of the drug to adverse event, start of a drug to adverse event, end of a drug to the adverse event, end of the drug to the adverse event. And one of the factor for understanding about the adverse events and the drug is objective evidence. Whether there is an objective evidence, particularly when there is drug and adverse event, there is an objective evidence for considering into an adverse event or not is also being considered. And there is one more thing which is called as de-challenges and re-challenges. So there are so many things which are called as de-challenges and re-challenges which are being used, whether it is being associated or it is not being associated. So now, why and what are the different factors associated with causality? The first one, the incomplete information of ADR. There might not be enough information, full information about the ADR information. So half of the information is missing, then incomplete information about the ADR is not being accepted. And variables in clinical responses, there are variables in clinical responses, and poor understanding of biological understanding, or poor acceptance or poor understanding of biological plausibility, whether the drug has caused this problem or not. Biologically, pharmacologically, you have to predict and give plausibility. So that's very poor understanding. That is also one of the factor which is being used. And the one more thing is other alternative causes. So there are other alternative causes as co-suspect drugs or treatment drugs or concomitant medications, or the disease itself might have caused the adverse event. And lack of trainings, particularly to clinicians or to the nurses who collects that. So there are different factors affecting the ADRs. There are incomplete information of ADRs. Polypharmacy sometimes plays a major role. Variables in clinical responses, the outcome of the clinical invariability, and poor understanding of biological plausibility, other alternative causes like co-suspect drug and other drugs, and lack of training in the clinician. So now these are the what is causality, the relationship between the drug and adverse event. Now the what are the different factors associated with for the causality is the incomplete information and polypharmacies and duration of adverse events and all those things will come into picture. Now coming back to what are the most important aspects of the causality. So that is about the causality assessment tools. So causality assessment tools, these are four principles of diagnosis of ADR, such as the relationship, temporal relationship of the drug and adverse event, and also biological plausibility. So biological plausibility. So whether the pharmacologically this was being predicted or not is called as biological plausibility. And last two things are de-challenges and re-challenge. So the CAT scale plays a major role. The CAT scale plays a major role, which gives the cardinal principle of diagnosis of ADR will depend on temporal relationship of the drug and adverse event, and the biological plausibility, and the de-challenges, and also the re-challenges. So these are the most important aspects in any of the causality assessments. Now coming back to de-challenges and re-challenges, what are the de-challenges and re-challenges? So we spoke about the first one, what is causality. The second one, what are the factors affecting causality. The third one is causality assessment tool, including the four main principles. The first principle, temporal association or relationship between drug and adverse event, the biological possibility of the drug causing the reaction, de-challenges and re-challenges. Now coming back to what is de-challenge and what is re-challenge. So first one, what is de-challenge? The term which is being used when suspect drug was being discontinued or withdrawn from the market or reduced to the patient. Then what is an outcome of adverse event is called as de-challenge. So de-challenge is very simple. The patient is taking a drug is stopped, adverse event outcome is considered as de-challenge. So de-challenge is the drug is discontinued. the outcome of adverse event is de-challenge. Now, positive de-challenge is when drug is stopped, adverse event also stops. Then it is called as positive de-challenge. Negative de-challenge, when drug is stopped, then the adverse event continues. Then it is called as negative de-challenge. So now, what is de-challenge? The temporal relationship between the drug and adverse event. The outcome of adverse event when drug was stopped is called as your de-challenge. And positive de-challenge is when drug is stopped, adverse event also stops. Is called as positive de-challenge. Negative de-challenge is when drug is stopped, the adverse event does not stop or adverse event continues. Then it is called as negative de-challenge. In a positive de-challenge, when drug is stopped, adverse event also stops. We can continue further on testing of the re-challenges. So re-challenges is when drug is re-administered. When drug is re-administered, reoccurrence of adverse event is called as your re-challenge. So when first drug was being given, you got an adverse event, you stopped a drug, and then you stopped the adverse event. Then you restarted a drug, and then the reoccurrence of adverse event is considered as a re-challenge. So all words are re-administration of drug, reoccurrence of adverse event, re-challenge. Re-administration of drug, no reoccurrence of adverse event, then negative re-challenge. So positive re-challenge and negative re-challenge. So now what is positive re-challenge? Re-administration of drug, reoccurrence of adverse event. What is negative re-challenge? Reoccurrence of drug, no reoccurrence of adverse event is called as negative re-challenge. So now I spoke about different aspects of causality. First one I spoke about what is causality assessment. The second one, what are the factors which are associated with causality assessment. The third one is we spoke about causality algorithms, like four pillars of causality algorithms we spoke. And the next one is what is de-challenge and what is re-challenge. So de-challenge is the one which is called as the stopping of drug, adverse event stops. And re-challenge is the restart of a drug will lead to reoccurrence of adverse event. And then the de-challenge is of two types: positive de-challenge and negative de-challenge. Positive de-challenge, when drug is stopped, adverse event stops. Where negative de-challenge is when drug is stopped, the adverse event continues. Then it is called as negative de-challenge. And what is re-challenge is the re-administration of drug. The re-administration of drug is called as re-challenge. If re-administration of drug led to reoccurrence of adverse event, then it is called as positive re-challenge. And negative re-challenge is when the drug is being restarted, but the adverse event does not reappear, then it is called as negative re-challenge. In this following terms, the re-challenges is positive is related, negative is not related, and the positive re-challenge is related, and negative re-challenge is not related. Now, coming back to algorithms or scales, there are two scales generally worldwide we are using. First one is Naranjo scale, which was developed in 1991 by University of Toronto to decide to confirm the controlled clinical trials and registry studies of new drugs. So this is what is being done for Naranjo scale. And Naranjo scale, there are three responses for 10 questions. So there are 10 questions which are being given. So for each question, there are three responses. First one is yes, and second one is no, and third one is do not know. So now, whatever questions you are putting for the 10 questions, the tool or the application will calculate the data. And if any data which is more than 9 is considered as a perfect example of ADR. And anything which is 5 to 8 is considered as probable ADR. So we can understand 5 to 8 is probable ADR, 1 to 4 is possible ADR, and 0 is doubtful ADR. So there are 10 questions. For each question, yes and no and do not know. Once every question is being answered, we will come to know about your score, that how you have assessed the relationship between the drug and adverse event by using algorithms or scales. So if anything more than 9 score, total score is called as certainly related or definitely related. Anything between 5 to 8 is considered as probably related. Anything which is 1 to 4 is considered as possibly related, and 0 is considered as doubtfully related. So there is one more scale which is WHO causality scale. There are some questions WHO causality scale which speaks about events or laboratory abnormalities have a plausible time relationship. Yesterday we took a drug and he got adverse event today. Plausible relationship cannot be explained by other drugs on diseases. So it cannot be, the adverse event cannot be explained by the other diseases and drugs. And response of withdrawal plausible. So any psychological drugs you withdraw, then they might get adverse event. And defective pharmacological products. This also needs very careful consideration when you are working on pharmacovigilance. And re-challenge, if it is satisfactory, it is good. So anything which has all six data points or five data points is considered as certainly related as yes, and if it is no, then it is not related. So now coming back to, probably all the events and laboratory abnormalities have reasonable time frame, time linking or time relationship, and unlikely to be attributed to the disease of the drug. So they are not having any relationship between the drug and adverse event. It came directly and it started giving the result. So responses to withdrawal clinically reasonable and re-challenges are not required. So all these answers, if it is yes, then it is called as probably or likely. So there is one more thing which is possibly, wherein event or laboratory abnormality has reasonable time frame, but they could be explained by other diseases and other drugs also, and it has been drug withdrawal, maybe lacking of the information which is unclear. So now certainly, probably, possibly, and unlikely, unconditional, unaccessible, or unrisky kind of thing we can understand during the Naranjo scale. So today's topic, I spoke about what is the causality assessment. The second topic is how are we going to assess the causality, what is the importance of causality, why we have to assess the causality. And the third point, the four pillars of causality we spoke: the biological reference, and also the sponsor companies, and all those things we spoke. And also we spoke about the scales which are being used, which is Naranjo scale and WHO scale. For this, you guys have to review how the Naranjo scale and WHO scale is being utilized. If the score is more than 9, it is related to drug, and how you are going to plan for the mitigation is being clearly mentioned or clearly discussed about this. So I think I have covered most of parts. The first one is what is causality, what are the factors affecting causality, and why it is important, and how to do causality assessment. And last but not least is how are we going to work on this causality assessment by using algorithm. So now I'll take some questions. How do we proceed with causality assessment when there is a limited information? So most of times, the condition should be completed, and you need a data to analyze it. So this is a one simple answer which I want to give you. How do we prevent the influence of confounding factors in causality assessment? So understanding or assessing the systematic approach or impact on crucial and mitigating the challenge of aspects we have to take care, and clinician should be remain vigilant. So how are we going to be vigilant when we get the adverse event? And sponsor has a particular timeline within 7 days and 15 days of your getting an adverse event. So now in this topic, I spoke about a most important part, which is what is causality assessment, and the second part is what are the factors associated with this, and causality assessment tools, and what is re-challenge and re-challenge, positive re-challenge and negative re-challenge, what is re-challenge and positive re-challenge and negative re-challenge, and Naranjo scale and WHO scale hands-on. With more than 9, it is definitely related. More than 5.8, it's possibly related. 0, it is doubtfully related. All the 7 questions are related, or yes, they are marked as certainly related in Naranjo scale or WHO scale. And one more is you have little bit differences between the certainly or probably adverse events. So with this, I think we have covered most of topics wherein we can understand that what is causality assessment and how are we going to discuss or assess the causality assessment. So thank you so much for joining for today's live, and we'll meet for one more live with one more topic. So till then, thank you so much. Have a nice rest of day.